This is video 3 of the Cadet Training Plan Template Instructional series. In this video, we will be demonstrating how to complete the PO Wizard screens for training periods days. We begin on the Themes tab, which is the default tab for the PO Wizards. In the Themes tab, which is an optional screen, but highly recommended, you can create themes which will guide your content choices when you go to the second tab, Training Period Selections. To create your themes, you go to year 1 and click in the field for day 1 and you type in the theme that you want to have. In this case, I'm going to have a Poppy Sales Day. I hit tab to move down to day 2. And tab again. And then I have 2 sports days. And my training periods day themes for year 1 are complete. I can then move to year 2 and click into day 1 on year 2, and I can create independent themes for each training level or phase. Or I can use the same themes that I created for year 1 and apply them to the days for all training levels and phases by using the repeat button. And now I've completed those themes for all the training levels. And these themes then will appear in the next tab, Training Period Selections, and will help us to guide our choices for making the training period selections. Moving on to the Training Period Selections tab in the PO Wizards, we're going to be now selecting EO content to match to those training periods days and those themed labels that we created on the previous tab. The screen that, once we click on the screen, what we have here is a summary screen, and it shows us the status of our EO selections. You can see the training periods days themes that we created here, and we've got 9 EOs that we need to select for each day, and it's showing that we haven't completed that yet. And then we have our totals for mandatory and complementary selections. We have to have 18 mandatory EOs and 18 complementary EOs for each year, and those are spread amongst the 4 days. So the totals boxes show red because those are not completed yet at this time. We'll go in and we'll do that right now. We're going to click on the Training Periods Days Selections button right here, and that'll bring up the EO selection screen. The first thing that you do is click on a level filter and pick the level or training phase that you want to work with. Once we select that level, we see that our totals boxes get activated. Again, here are our training periods days themes, and each one will count up to the 9 periods that we have to select for each level. Over here, this totals box is going to guide our choices for the number of mandatory and complementary periods that we have, making sure that we have the right mix, 18 and 18. Going back to the left side of the screen, we've got the PO filter. We can click on that drop down and choose the PO that we want to work with, or we can view all POs at one time, and there's a scroll bar here to go through, but that's quite a bit of content to view on the screen at one time. It's a little easier to use the PO filter and select the PO that you want to work with. We're going to begin just by showing you some basic EO content selections and how to assign those EOs to your training periods days. So I'm beginning here with citizenship because that's the PO that matches up to the first 2 of my training periods days. And we see the EOs listed under that PO that I have selected. And we go here where it says select EO, and we click in the checkbox to select that EO. Once we select the EO, it becomes shaded in purple here, so it's really easy to tell of the EOs displayed which ones we have already selected. And over here it appears in the list to the right, and we see that it is shaded red. Any EOs in this list that are shaded red is because they haven't been assigned to a training periods day. So that's the next step, assigning it to a training periods day. So we have the training period day select box here. We simply click on the drop down, find the day that we want to assign that EO to, select it, and that EO is now not shaded red anymore. Plus we have our totals box here that EO is assigned to that day, and because it's 9 periods, that day is complete. The next day that I want to do is going to be my Remembrance Day, and I've got C10202 here. I'm going to select that. It appears to the right. It is still shaded red. I go to the Training Day Select and I choose Remembrance Day. That EO is now assigned to that day, and that day turns green. Moving on to my next 2 days, I'm going to be going to Sports, so that's 105, and I've got my M10501 9 periods. I'm going to select that EO, simply assign it to the Fall Sports Day. That's complete. Moving on, I can choose one of these 3 complementary options, and I simply assign it to the Spring Day, and my 4 days for year 1 are now complete. Once you have completed the content selections for 1 year, you simply go back to the level filter and click on the drop down box and choose the next training level or phase, and you continue to make your content selections and assign those EOs to the training periods days, just as we saw in year 1. At this time, we're going to show you how to make advanced content selections using the multiple days button, and we're going to show you some options that you have for splitting EOs. This applies to the EOs for M102, 202, 302, and 402, that's citizenship, as well as the complementary citizenship 102. And it also applies to the M105, 205, 305, and 405, which is the sports PO. And that's the one that we're actually going to use. So I'm just going to start off by assigning the citizenship as we did in year 1. So I'm just picking those EOs and assigning them to my days. So far, no difference. What we're going to see the difference with the advanced content selection when we go to 205 here. And I'm going to start off with my mandatory M205. I'm going to select that. And from here, I'm going to go into the multiple days button. This is only available on the EOs that I described, and those EOs will have this button activated. You click on the multiple days button, and up comes the split PO multiple days dialog box. And what this is going to allow us to do is to take those 9 periods and split them between training periods days in blocks of 3 and or the parade night regular training sessions. Your first choice has to be a training period day, and what you do is you start by clicking on the number of instances that you need. What I'm going to do with the mandatory one is split it into 3. I'm going to assign the first 2 onto my fall sports day, because I would like 6 periods of sports on that day. And the last 3 periods then I'm going to assign to the regular training session. As I indicated, any periods that you want to assign to the regular training session, which is your parade night training sessions, just simply need to be done on a choice other than your first choice. Once you're done, you simply close the form, and we've got 2 blocks of 3 periods assigned to our fall sports day, and our fall sports day not yet complete but has 6 periods of mandatory content assigned to it. What we're going to do is we've got 3 periods of mandatory EOs left that we need to pick, and I'm going to assign them onto that fall sports day. I'm just going to go then and find that content right here in the range. I'm going to take this EO right here, mandatory 20601, and I'm going to select that EO, and I'm going to assign it onto that day, and that's going to complete that day. And just a handy little tip to show you over here on the right hand side, I can look at all the EOs that I've selected for this training level on these days, or I can filter it by day. So if I want to look at the content that's assigned just to one day, I just use that drop down box and I can switch back to all. As you can see, we still have 9 periods of complementary content that we need to take care of. So I'm going to go back to 205 into recreational sports, and I'm going to look at my complementary options here. I'm going to select that, and again go into the multiple days button. One of the things that we're going to see here is you can choose your splits with the complementary content. It doesn't automatically break it down into blocks of 3. So I need 2 instances. I need some periods for my training periods day, and I could send some more periods to the Parade Night training session, or another training periods day if I had one available. In this case, I need 6 periods, and it's going to go on to my spring sports day. And if that's all the periods that I wanted to use from this EO with the complementary, what this multiple days button will also allow you to do is to flex that content. So what I could do here is I could simply delete that day and use 6 of the 9 EOs. And if I wanted to then not use those other 3 EOs or those 3 periods, I could simply hit close form and I would be done. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take those 3 periods, and I'm going to assign them to regular training sessions. And so of my complementary content, I've got 3 periods I'm pre-assigning to the parade night, and we'll talk about that further on in this instructional series. So I'm going to close that form, and here I've got 6 periods of complementary 105 assigned to the spring sports day, which needs another 3 periods of content. I'm going to go to my PO filter. I'm going to find some biathlon content. Just going to scroll down, and I'm going to pick from year 1 some 111 content and assign it onto that spring sports day. Just select and assign it to the day. I've got 1 more period, and that content is complete. So I've got my 4 days for year 2 now complete. At this point, I would simply click on the level filter and continue on to the next training year until all 4 the selections for all 4 training years are done. I'm going to hit the return button, however, just to go back to the summary screen and show you our progress. So what we see is that the selections for year 1 are done. All the boxes turn green. The same for year 2. Outstanding yet are the training periods day selection choices for years 3 and 4. In the next video, we will demonstrate making the EO selection contents for the 30 period of complementary choice selections that need to be done for parade night training sessions, and also then we will go on to the complementary training choice on the next tab.